self-nourishment yoga. So come to your mats and come to a sitting position. I think it's a good idea to sit on something, like a blanket folded, for instance, or a book or a small block. Anything just so that you can sit a little, your hips can be a little bit higher than the knees or at the same height as the knees at least. Okay? So that when the knees are on the floor, you're able to feel more grounded in the legs. Okay? And then this way, you can feel like you're growing the spine up from the pelvis in a more natural way, that it feels light, so the head feels light and you don't have to use as many muscles to sit tall. So we're going to come and sit tall, close the eyes. Start to bring yourself inwards. Noticing the inner vibration of the body. And maybe at the moment it feels a little bit fast or frantic, getting ready to sign into these computers to take yoga. Doesn't feel 100% natural. But if you concentrate on the breath, allow the breath to calm the body, calm the mind. And you can bring yourself into a place where you're receptive to the inner body, being able to listen to the higher mind, the intuition. To feel fully present. So if the body hasn't settled or the mind is still roaming about, start to bring your awareness to the breath. Noticing the breath. And begin to make the inhales and the exhales the same length. And begin to make a soft sound with the breath. You can bring the hands in front of the chest. You can set yourself an intention for this practice. Any intention that feels appropriate for you. If you don't think of one, you can use the one that I'm going to use, which is to try to stay present, stable, grounded, steady. So that every time we move away from feeling steady, we bring ourselves back. Notice what's going on with no judgment. Maybe take one step back until we find our foundation. And then we proceed with clarity, foundation, steadiness, inner strength. They all kind of mean the same thing. And there's skills that we can work on our yoga mat that can be brought off the yoga mat into our daily lives, helping us become more skillful. We'll just chant one Om. Keeping the eyes closed, place the hands on the legs in a way that the arms feel like they can relax into the legs, so that the shoulders can relax, the back of the neck can relax, the upper back. We're going to try to find Mula Bandha. Mula Bandha is the root lock. When we find this grounding, it's also related to the Muladhara chakra. When we find this grounding in the physical body, it can help us, again, bring those skills into other aspects. So our emotional body, our mental body, our breath body. So first, bring your awareness to the two sitting bones. Notice if you're sitting evenly between the two sitting bones, or if maybe there's a little bit more weight on one or the other. And if you find there's more weight on one or the other, try to distribute the weight more evenly. And then also notice if the weight is centered forward and back. So maybe you're a little bit too much on the front of the sitting bones. Maybe you're a little bit too much on the back of the sitting bones. See if you can feel really centered and lifting up from that place. So the sitting bones feel heavy, but between the sitting bones, this area is lifting up to give you that lightness, the growth, the openness. Then bring your awareness to the tailbone and the pubic bones. And see if you can bring those 2 points just slightly towards one another. So you could think of the two sitting bones, the pubic bones, and the tailbones as those 4 points of Mula Bandha, the 4 corners of Mula Bandha. And you try to bring those 4 points towards one another, and you feel this slight contraction at the pelvic floor. So maybe when you're learning, you might do it too strongly or not strongly enough, but as you get more experience, you'll know just how much steadiness to find so that you are balanced. If we're too strong or too weak, you can create some unskillful actions. So we want to find the balance between the two. And how much we use Mula Bandha will depend, it will change depending on the asanas. So you have those 4 points, and then see if you can lift the ribcage up and away from those 4 points. Now you're going to exhale fully from the bottom, so from the pelvic floor, squeezing the air out from the bottom, all the way up through the passages to come out through the nose. And then inhale from the top and see if you can keep that slight contraction at the bottom. Allowing the rib cage to move, but not at the pelvic floor. And then exhale again. Try 2 more breaths. And then you're going to open your eyes because I want to show you an exercise. You're going to take your fingers like this, so you have your first 2 fingers and then your thumb out on both hands. And you're going to bring your hands really close to the groins, like where the crease is here, and you're going to bring those fingertips towards each other. Right? It's almost, it's about 4 or 5 fingers below the navel. And then you're going to lengthen again. Exhale from the bottom, so from the pelvic floor, from underneath these fingers, which is going to get Uddiyana Bandha. Inhale from the top and see as you inhale, if you can inhale lower, but not as low as the fingertips, so that the point under these fingertips remains still with the inhales and the exhales. So take a couple breaths, close the eyes again so you can bring yourself inwards. Exhale from the bottom, feel the pelvic floor, feel the muscles under the fingertips contracting. Inhale from the top, let the rib cage expand. And see if you can inhale quite low, but not so low towards the fingertips. And then continue with the exhale, going at your own breathing rhythm. You can use the sound of Ujjayi. It helps regulate the passage of the air so that you're not gulping air, and it makes this more streamlined. So you're taking the same amount of air in, but it's taking a little bit longer. So just try a couple more breaths. And then just open your eyes again. You're going to keep one hand down, and you're going to take the other hand just like in a cupping position like this, and you're going to place it on the one side of the ribs, so on the low ribs, so that the fingertips come forward, and there's this soft part between the ribs, the solar plexus. You're going to keep one hand here, and then close the eyes again. Exhale fully from the bottom. Inhale from the top, and this time you want to breathe into the upper hand, but you don't want to feel the muscles under the lower fingers moving. So you're keeping the pelvic floor, you're keeping the muscles under the fingertips, the lower fingertips still, but the upper hand you want to feel the rib cage and the solar plexus moving with the inhales and the exhales. Because we don't want the breath to just remain only in the upper lungs. So try a few more breaths, using the skill of concentration. Then opening the eyes, releasing the hands. You're going to bring your hands forward, come up onto the hands and knees. You can remove whatever you were sitting on, move it to the side. tuck the toes under, bring the shoulders over the wrists, the knees a little bit behind the hips. And lift one ankle. And just turn the ankle a little bit from rotating in one direction. And then turn it to the other direction, rotating the ankle. Release it. Pick up the other ankle, rotating. And rotating the other way. And then we're going to move our spine in any way that feels comfortable. Not only our spine, our whole torso. Just start to waken up the torso. Moving the weight from one hand to the other, to a knee, to the other knee. Arching the back, dropping the belly, reaching the spine to the ceiling. Kind of going through all the movements available. Awakening the hips. Awakening the buttocks. There's no rule here, just moving. And then turn, going the opposite direction. You can bend the elbows a little bit. You can keep the eyes closed. Whatever feels nice and natural to you. And then come back to center. Inhale, lean forward, open the chest. Exhale, bring the sitting bones towards the heels. Inhale, forward, open the chest. Exhale, coming back to a puppy. Inhale again. Exhale, pull the lower abdominals in, pull the pelvic floor. See if you can maintain that as you open and arch. Okay, so everything we did sitting, see if you can maintain that. Mula Bandha. One more, open the chest. And then exhale, coming back into puppy pose. Lift the palms from the floor so your fingertips are on the floor. And reach the sitting bones towards the heels. And then see if you can feel the two sitting bones, the pubic bones, and the tailbone all reaching towards one another. Then maintaining that, wiggle your fingertips a little bit further, feeling this nice elongation along the back, the arms, and then push the palms back onto the floor. Bring the ears between the upper arms, staying here, breathing deeply, using the sound of Ujjayi. And then walk your hands towards you. You're going to lift up the knees so you can come into a squatting position. So you're welcome to open the feet to the sides. Do whatever you can do so that you can balance here. If the heels are off the floor, no worries. You can stay like this. Or even sometimes I see people balancing there. Whatever feels comfortable, okay? So this, you don't have to pressure yourself. And then if it feels okay, you can put the hands in front of the chest. Open the chest. Let the buttock muscles slide down towards the floor. And then you're going to push your arms into the legs, so it kind of makes you want to open the legs out to the sides, but your legs are going to resist. So you're going to push the legs towards the arms. So there's a little bit of these two actions, and you need to find this spiral so that both actions are happening at exactly the same time, but with this sense of effortless effort. And when you find that, then you're going to feel like you're able to maintain Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha. Okay, let everything drop so the head is kind of weighting the spine, elongating, tracking the spine. Let the jaw drop, let all the facial muscles drop. The palate, the roof of the mouth. And if it feels comfortable for you, you might kind of just move a little bit side to side. Maybe you start to straighten one knee. Maybe you straighten the other knee. And maybe eventually you're even straightening both knees. But don't do that at the expense of the central nervous system that remains inside the spine. Let the hands drop, bend the knees, squeeze Mula Uddiyana Bandha, and then push the feet and roll up to a standing position, one vertebrae at a time, until you're all the way at the top. So if you have socks on like me, because I get cold so easily, so I don't like to do those sitting positions with no socks. You can remove them. And you're going to come to the front of the mat. We're going to do these very smooth, easy sun salutations. So it's not Ashtanga way. Okay, this is opposite of Ashtanga. So, and Misty has something to say here. She hears noise outside, so sorry about that. Open the palms. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, bend the knees, folding over the legs, relax the head. Inhale, slide the arms up, open the chest. Exhale, put the hands to the floor, step one foot back, other foot back, and then knees, pelvis, chest to the floor. Turn the toes, inhale, open the chest, cobra pose. Exhale, turn the toes, and puppy pose. Staying here, press your 10 fingers into the floor, and then once again, bring your mind back to Mula Bandha. See if you can maintain that. Feel those two sitting bones slightly towards one another, tailbone, pubic bones. And when you naturally get this, the low part of the abdominals will go in as well. Then lift the sitting bones, lift the knees, step one foot forward, other foot forward, inhale halfway up the legs, exhale, bend the knees, fold. Inhale, lead with the chest, come all the way up. Exhale, arms to the sides. And again, inhale to raise the arms. Exhale, gently folding over, relax the head down. Inhale, slide the hands up the shins. Exhale, hands down. Step one foot back, step the other foot back. Knees, pelvis, chest to the floor. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, puppy pose. And if you feel comfortable, maybe you pick up the knees, push into the hands, keep the knees bent, and push the sitting bones in two directions. They're working towards the wall behind you, but they're also working towards each other. And then see if you can maintain that and maybe work towards straightening the knees or straightening one at a time. Listening to your body, seeing what is appropriate. And by the way, it changes every day. So maybe one day you're doing this great downward dog, and the next day it might just not feel right for the day. Bend the knees, step one foot, other foot, inhale, halfway up, exhale, folding over. Inhale, lead with the chest all the way up, exhale, arms down. One more, inhaling, exhaling, make as little effort as possible. Inhale, downward dog. Finding a point to gaze at. Tune back in with the breathing. Bend the knees, look forward, step one foot, other foot, inhale halfway up, exhale, release over the legs. Inhale all the way to stand, exhale to release. Bend your knees, step your right foot back, turn your left toes in, and turn towards the back of your yoga mats. And then you're going to lift the back heel from the floor, so you're kind of in this lunge with the back knee bent. You want your front knee over the heel. And you're going to take your hand on your right thigh, pull that right thigh up, and then get your hand on your hip bone, like this. And you're going to pick up your hip bone, and then bring your hand on your other thigh, pick up the thigh, and then bring your two hands on your hip bones, squeeze those together, put the fingertips in the lower abdominals, and pick those up all the way to the ceiling. And notice if you feel Mula and Uddiyana Bandhas engaging. Take your hands on your rib cage, lift your rib cage up. Open the arms, interlace the thumbs, and reaching up towards the ceiling. Bend that back knee, keeping the pelvic floor lifting. Bend the back knee. Slowly, slowly, all the way down to the floor. So your knee is now touching the floor. Bring your fingertips on the floor in front of you. And then start to slide your hips back, slide your fingertips back. As you do so, the foot is lifting off the floor. You can keep the back toes tucked under. So maybe you come to a straight leg, and then open through the chest, and see if you want to bend a little bit towards that leg. Inhale, coming back up, onto the knee. Bring your right hand on the top of the right thigh, left elbow on the outside of your knee. Push your knee and your elbow towards one another. This right hand is pushing into the top of the thigh so that you get some leverage to kind of open the chest a little bit towards the side. So find that, and then place the hands in prayer position. Push the hands together, open the chest a little bit more. Find Mula Bandha, find your stability, and then see if you can start to pick up the back knee. And you don't need to pick up the knee. You can stay with the knee down if you're not feeling very stable. Release your hands, put them on either sides of the front foot, and see if maybe as you slide the hips back, slide the hands, see if you can work towards straightening that front knee. Keep the back long, lower abdominals in. Bend the front knee, inhale, lift the torso, and then you're going to turn, come all the way to the other side. Okay, so you're in this lunge on the other side. Bend, soften the back knee, bring the hands on the hips, slide both the skins of the thighs up so they're connecting into the navel. And then bring the hip bones towards one another. Lower abdominals. They're kind of going back and up. Tops of the backs of the buttocks are sliding down. So feel if you've got that sensation of stability from the core, from the center. Inhale, raise the arms. Interlace the thumbs the opposite way. Reaching up towards the ceiling. And then slowly, 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 allowing the knee to come down. And then the knee is on the floor. Release the arms, come forward, the way down so your buttock is on your foot and the front foot is flexed, and then come over that leg. With deep listening to what's going on in your own body. And coming back up to the back knee. Bring your left hand on the thigh, push that thigh down, bring your right elbow on the outside of the knee, push the elbow and the knee towards one another. Use this left hand for leverage to help you find a little deeper twist. Open the chest to the side, place the palms in a prayer position, like this, and then keep pressing the upper hand into the lower hand, and you can either stay here or work to lift the back knee off the floor. Release the hands, fingertips to the floor, and see if you can work towards straightening that front leg. Bend the front knee. Inhale, come back into the lunge. And then you're going to bring the two sides of the feet parallel, like this. Bend your knees, bring your hands on the upper inner thighs, and you're going to use your hands to lift the upper inner thighs. The outer sides of the feet come off the floor, so you're pulling your upper inner thighs up, and then at the same time as placing the outer foot on the floor, you straighten your knees. And you keep that sensation of the upper inner thighs lifting up into Mula Bandha. Lower abdominals pulling in. Inhale, open the arms, interlace the thumbs. Feel your whole rib cage picking up towards the ceiling. And it starts from, well, it really starts from the big toe, but feel like it's starting from the pelvic floor. So it's inside, lifting up. Then opening the arms, folding forward, halfway down. Place the left hand on the floor, press that left hand into the floor, open the right arm up towards the ceiling. Lift the left arm, hold in with the belly, hold in with the pelvic floor. Right hand to the floor, press the right hand, lift the left arm. Bring the hands parallel with the floor. Inhale, come all the way up, hands to the hips. Inhale, open the chest. Once again, finding the upper inner thighs. Open the arms, changing the crossing of the thumbs. Reaching up as far as you can. This time you're going to slide the heels towards each other. And then bend the knees, point the knees towards the feet. So you're lowering down, but at the same time you feel like you're opening your knees to the sides. And at the same time you're reaching up, like you're pulling your whole rib cage up towards the ceiling. Holding here. Find the two sitting bones towards one another. Pubic bone, tailbone towards each other. And find that stability at the core of the body, right through the center. Straighten the knees, release the arms, and start to wiggle, 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 wiggle the feet together. So you're coming back to a kind of like a samasthiti at the front of your mats. And you're going to soften your right knee, so it's bending. Flex your right foot. Lift your foot, hands into Uddiyana Bandha, and then you're going to push your foot back as if you're pushing a wall behind you. Fingertips into Uddiyana Bandha, and as you do so, you push that wall behind you. You bring the torso parallel with the floor, or almost parallel, and you work maybe to straighten that leg, or maybe it stays bent as needed. Lower abdominals pulling in, pushing the foot away. And coming back. Coming back to the front of the mat. You're going to turn your right knee out. Pick up that right foot, place it on the upper inner thigh. Open the arms to the sides, interlace the thumbs, and reach the baby side of the whole arm. So from the tip of the shoulder blade to the tip of the baby finger, reaching up. Soften the standing leg, bending it, bringing your right leg over the left, and then squeezing the upper inner thighs. If you can hook your toe behind. If it doesn't happen, doesn't matter, just keep squeezing the upper inner thighs towards each other. Keep reaching up, so you're going down, but you're reaching up. And then releasing. And we'll do the second side. So starting with a good samasthiti, especially in the core. Turn the left knee out at an angle. Lift that foot and place it on the upper inner thigh. Open the arms to the sides. Lift them up. Change the crossing of the thumbs, reaching up towards the ceiling. Lift the rib cage like the rib cage is lifting away from the pelvis. Soften the standing knee. Bring the left leg over the right leg, squeezing tightly the upper inner thighs. Whether you hook or not, it doesn't matter. But if you can, it's a little bit easier, I find, if you can hook the toes. And then squeeze the pelvic floor. Squeeze the lower abdominals. All the while still reaching up towards the ceiling. And then releasing. Bringing the toes together. Open the arms. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, releasing over the legs. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, hands to the floor, and step one foot, the other foot, knees, pelvis, chest to the floor. Inhale to open the chest. Exhale, turning the toes, pushing into the hands, either puppy or downward facing. Breathing here for a couple of full breaths. And then place the knees on the floor. You're going to bring your right arm under the left arm to bring your right shoulder, right ear towards the floor. Pick up the left arm, wrapping around, and see if you can get the other thigh. Relax the right arm. And then press the left hand into the floor, coming back up onto all fours, and then sliding the left arm under the right, bringing the arm, shoulder, ear to the floor, picking up the right arm, and wrapping around. You can close the eyes. Release the right hand, press it to the floor, coming back up, and then point your toes, walk yourself back, and come to sit on one side of the heels, and just release the legs out. Okay, so you're going to open the feet, like this, leaning back, lifted. And then bend your knees and see if you can pick up the legs. Okay, engage the feet, so flexing or pointing, or this version that I do like that. And then you're going to bring your legs together, open them. Bring the legs together, open them. And now you're going to switch, so they're crossing. Open, switch the other one, and do a few of those, but make sure you're not hanging out in your lower back. So if it hurts your lower back, push your hands more, open the chest. Or come to lie down on the back. It hurts. And then release, keeping the legs open. If you've got a bolster, then you can take your bolster. If you don't have a bolster, just use a big stack of cushions. And you could also use a block, for instance, something like this. Okay, so here, shake up the legs. Your bolster or your blankets are really close to you. And then you're going to lean forward and try to relax here. And just let the legs relax however they want to. And if you don't have enough props, let's see what's going on. Can give you some suggestions. If you don't have enough props, one thing is that you can bend your knees, so don't worry about it. Anyways, you can always bend the knees. And you could use a chair. If anybody has a chair close by, you just put like your kitchen chair. I see some kitchen chairs in the back. You could take your kitchen chair and you rest yourself on a chair. Like that. Axel, yeah, I see you there. Good. So if anybody else doesn't have anything, let's see. And then just try to relax there. Find it should be comfortable. If it's not comfortable, you can even just go into a different position. Okay, make it comfy. It's supposed to be restorative. So if it's not comfortable, then find a different position one of your favorite positions, for example, or just with one leg bent, something like that. Or even something like this. This is where it's hard teaching virtually because I prefer to walk around and make sure everybody's feeling good, but it's harder through the camera. Okay, so anyways, whatever version you're in, see if you can release. And let go of Mula Bandha, let go of Uddiyana Bandha. It's up to you, you can let go of the ujjayi, you can make the breath very quiet. Recognize that feeling grounded, stable, centered. Having those qualities is part of having those qualities is also knowing that sometimes it's okay to just completely let go. Sometimes it's okay to be completely vulnerable. To recognize that maybe you need help or that something is just too much for you and you need to ask for help from others. And it's not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of not having inner strength. In fact, I could argue the opposite. Always being strong. Sometimes that's not real strength. If your face was turned to one Sometimes we have this idea of being strong is to be independent. But the nature of our world is interconnectedness. To have real strength is the ability to be able to work together, find solutions together, share in each other's joys, as well as sharing in the sadness. Then when you're ready, you're going to put the hands to the floor, push into the floor. You can remove your props. Lean back, bring the legs a little bit towards each other, and just shake out the legs. So we're going to do Supta Baddha Komasana. So if you know that pose, you can find yourself into it. Otherwise, I can show you, if you have a bolster, you put it lengthwise on your mat. And once again, if you feel like you need a little bit more height, you can use a block or a book or a couple books or a couple blankets. You know, we need to be creative and put it something like that. But just whatever you do, just make sure it's really stable so that it doesn't fall while you're lying on it. And then you come and you sit close to whatever you've set up. You bring the two soles of the feet together, like this. And then you're going to lie over your props. And it could be a good idea to put some blankets under the knees as well, so that if you feel like you're a little more tight in the hips, that you're not going to hurt your knees. It's very cute to see all the animals, the cats and the dogs. So if you have no props whatsoever, if that's the case, then you can lie down directly on the back, like this, and then bring the feet a little bit away from you, and you should at least have a couple of cushions where you could put something under one knee and the other knee, and you can lie something like that. I hope you're all finding some way to feel comfortable there. Once you're there, try to let go. Emanuela, you need something under your head. Don't let the head hang like that. You want to have the chin, everybody should have the chin, so the front of the neck is in more of a neutral position. Yeah, that's better. Okay, it shouldn't hurt the neck. If it's hurting your neck or hurting the lower back or hurting anywhere, basically, just pose, like a wide-kneed child's pose, and give you a similar effect. Something like that if you're really struggling. Because I want you to be relaxed there. It's a restorative pose. Yeah, that's good. Relax the back. Relax the hips. Try to let go. While you're in these restorative poses, can bring your awareness back to the inner body. Noticing the vibration of the inner body. Noticing the rhythm of the breath. So you're not holding Mula Bandha anymore. You don't even need to do Ujjayi. The breath can be just very quiet, almost like the breath is imperceivable. Unless you're feeling like your mind is quite agitated. If the mind is agitated, then it can be more beneficial to keep the Ujjayi and to keep the breath maybe a little bit deeper. Relaxing the jaw, inside the mouth. Around the face. Allowing the mind to settle. And then using your hands, you're going to place the hands on either sides of the thighs. And lift the knees towards one another. Separate the feet a little bit away from you and apart from each other, and let the knees fall towards each other. And pushing to the hands, and coming out of the position, you can remove your props. Bring your legs out in front of you, bring your hands on your thighs, and you're going to roll down, trying to move one vertebrae at a time, using the belly to come all the way down on the floor. And then bend the knees. Keep the feet a little bit apart from one another and apart away from you. Bring your arms out to the sides. And then allow the knees to fall to one side. Just letting go here. If it's hurting your knee, then maybe try to find the foot a little bit further away or a little closer and see that it doesn't hurt the knee. And then lift the knees, let them fall to the other side. bring your hands so maybe you can feel the feet. The feet should be parallel. And then you're going to bring your elbows on the floor, fingertips pointing upwards. Push into the feet, push into the elbows, and then squeezing Mula Uddiyana Bandha, keeping the belly firm, lifting up. Exhale, lowering back down. Inhale, find Mula Bandha like we did at the beginning of the class. Lifting up. Maintaining Mula Bandha as you lower down. Inhale, lifting up again. Exhale down. Inhale, lifting up. See if you can press the feet, maybe lift a little bit higher and try to stay here. Press into the elbows. You can reach behind. You should be able to feel that the hamstrings are engaged, the buttocks are firm. And then lowering down. Bring the knees towards the chest, keeping the knees separate. Interlace the fingers. Close the eyes, and then relax the arms, relax the shoulders. Staying here. You can let the knees be apart, the feet together. And then let go of the hands, bring the feet up towards the ceiling, hold your ankles or shins or feet, and coming into this happy baby pose. You can rock a little bit side to side if that feels good for you. Just relaxing the face. Bringing the heels so the heels are touching. Interlace your fingers around the feet, like this. And then let the arms feel heavy, let the shoulders feel heavy. Relax the back of the neck. And then slowly releasing the legs. Stretching the arms over the head, lengthening the sides of the body. Roll to one side. Press into your hand and lifting up. So I would like to finish with legs up the wall. And I know it can be awkward in everybody's houses. So if you don't have a wall, I see lots of you with sofas, and this is even better. You know, you put yourself close to the sofa. So if you know legs up the wall, you just get yourself close to a wall and your legs are going up. If you don't have a wall and you have a sofa or a chair there, you come close to your chair, and imagine my sofa is here, and I put my calves on the sofa. And then I can bring myself into these cactus arms, and I can hang out like this. And sometimes this is even better than legs up the wall, so let's see what's going on. legs, then pull yourself a little bit away from the wall and maybe even put a bolster under the hips. If you know this, if you've been doing some restorative yoga, you're going to know what feels good for you. That's good, Amelie. Like this is perfect. And then if you want to add a little bit of opening across the chest, you can bring your arms into this cactus position, like this. Unless it doesn't feel good or it's too much of a strain. And then see if you can let go here, completely let go. Close the eyes, even if you have an eye pillow or anything like this, you're always welcome to use it. And then what I would do is turn that chair around and put your legs on the chair. Put your shins on the chair. Yeah. Exactly. Everybody looks good. So, eyes are closed. Bringing yourself inwards. And notice, bring your mind to the area of the pelvis. And notice if you can completely relax all around the pelvis. So in the hip joints, in the buttocks, relaxing the inner thighs, relaxing the lower belly, and then allow the femur bones, the leg bones, to feel heavy. It's like the femur bones are steady in the hip sockets. So that the whole pelvis area can completely relax. Relaxing the feet and the toes. Notice if there's any tension around the ankles, the shins, the calves, the knees. So there's this sensation that all the flesh, the muscles, the skin, the fascia, it's all just melting away, melting towards the floor. Then bring your mind to your middle back, upper back, the shoulder blade area. solar plexus, the chest. And see if you can completely release this area. Releasing any tension, any clinging. So the breathing is free, the breathing is natural. Bringing the awareness to the area of the shoulders, the shoulder joints, inside the shoulder joints, it's just completely releasing. Sensation that you're releasing, relaxing from the inside out. And all around the tops of the shoulders, tops of the deltoids, the upper arms, the elbows, the forearms, so that the bones feel heavy. Bones feel heavy into the earth. As all the muscles, soft tissues, just melt away from the bones. Palms, the backs of the hands, the fingers. Just softening. So the whole upper body feels relaxed. And then checking the back of the neck, the throat. Inside the neck, inside the throat. Inside the jaw. Inside the mouth. All these areas are completely releasing, completely relaxed. They have nothing to do. They trust the earth. They trust the universe. They no longer have to hold on. Relaxing the cheeks, all around the eyes, the forehead, point between the eyebrows, relaxing all the skin on the skull, the soft tissues, the muscles. And then imagining you're releasing behind the face. Relaxing inside the skull. into a normal shavasana, you're welcome to do this as well. Or you can slowly make your way out. Bringing the hands in front of the chest. See if you can keep the sense of inner peace, true inner strength can only come from a sense of connecting with the inner world, the divine within, so that we feel steady, in our authentic selves. And so let's try to send all these really great attributes, not only to ourselves, but to all beings everywhere. Shanti, Shanti. Namaste. Thank you. I hope you feel relaxed for the evening.